So today's service call is Hoshizaki ice machine. Under counter requires 6-month service. So let's go check it out. Hey there, good morning. I'm going to be doing a full service cleaning of this Hoshizaki under counter ice machine, nugget ice machine. The only thing I've done so far is I've turned it off. I might as well just go ahead and drain some of the water out. But in order to really clean these things, I'm gonna have to slide the whole thing out and forward. Let me show you how I'm gonna do that. I'm actually going to put some rags down. So I'm having a heck of a time trying to get this thing to slide out. My fear is that I'm gonna break a water line or a drain line, but it has to be done. We have to pull it out. Otherwise we're not gonna be able to service it properly, and we'll deal with the water line and the drain line issue later. So I ended up having to disconnect the drain, take off the hose clamp and one side of this in order to get it through this hole. Why it wasn't attached on this side from the get-go, it's kind of confusing, but there's the other end of the drain hose. And when I put it back together, I'm just gonna connect it on this side so that I can slide it out easier next time I'm here. Like I said, some rags to try to help protect the floor. Now that this is out, I'm actually gonna reattach this drain line because I need it in order to do the rest of my maintenance. All right, drain line is reconnected. Next step is to take this top panel off. In order to get that off, you have to take out this screw, and there's usually a screw over here. Gotta see what's going on with that. It might just be this screw, and that screw is missing, but let's see. So this is fun. It looks like somebody had broken off that screw head. So this front panel would normally take out that screw, and this would lift up and slide backwards. I already kind of messed with it a little bit, but I guess you can kind of try to wiggle it off, and that's probably the best I'm gonna get, and I have to work inside there. I don't want to take this off the rest of the way because I might not be able to get it back on. It's kind of unfortunate. We're just gonna have to work around this, see what we can do. So I was able to break off the little screw piece that was holding this on. So normally it would just lift both of these up and then slide it backwards to get it off, but call that good. Find a safe place to set this, maybe over here, out of the way. All right, next step is, before I do anything, I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna warm up the evaporator, and then I'm gonna add my descaler, let it sit. So I use my needle nose pliers, loosen these up, just like 1/4 turn, and then the rest of it can just come out with your fingers. It takes a little bit of time, but eventually this thing will come up and out and do the rest, and then this will slide up and out. Sometimes this is hard to get out, so if you do get it out, make sure you put a little bit of lube between these mating surfaces so that it's easier for the next person to get it out. So I had to give it a couple of quick yanks, but like I said, that slides up and out of the way. That way you can clean that in the sink, and then you can pour your cleaner descaler straight down into the evaporator. But first we're gonna warm it up because it doesn't do no good to do it while there's ice in there. Hot water goes directly in there. Warm this all up. There are actually cleaning instructions on the inside of the front door. They actually have this thing, this funnel and hose that you can buy from Hoshizaki. I don't have it. You can use that, but I do it this way because I have to get in here and clean out the water trough, as well as some other hoses. I'm actually gonna take off this entire back panel, as well as this bottom cover, because there's a condensate pump down there, and there's a bunch of water hoses back here that have to get cleaned. But this cleaning procedure is fine if you're doing just like an in-house maintenance once a month, but for like a 6 month or an annual, you really have to take this thing all the way apart. So my hot water has been in there for a minute. I'm gonna click that to drain, let the water drain out. It's gonna go in that condensate pump, and then that condensate pump's gonna pump it through this hose into this drain line over here. Yeah, and then once that's all drained out, turn it back to off, and then we're gonna fill it up with our descaler, let it sit for 10 minutes. Hoshizaki ScaleAway, we're gonna add about 4 ounces to about 28 ounces of water. It's probably a little bit more. And then we're gonna take that, and just like we did with the water, we're just gonna pour it right over the extruder head, fill up the evaporator, fill up the water tray. Make sure we get all of this. Luckily, this isn't actually covered in that much scale, so be careful of your splashes. And then just use everything you have. Once we're done with that, we're going to empty out all this ice, clean the storage bin, clean the condenser, all that good stuff. So that sound is that spraying water, which just means that it's full. It was overflowing, going down the drain. So I'm satisfied with that. So we go. Start your timer, 10 minutes. Stay busy for 10 minutes, empty out all this ice, and it all goes into the sink. Just run some hot water, and that will all melt away. Emptied out all my ice. You can see why we need to empty out the ice, because that needs to be cleaned out. Now my condenser is down there, so I'm gonna take off this screw and this screw, remove this cover, and do my best to clean out that guy. So I actually had to take off this piece as well, just a couple extra screws, but there's my condenser. I'm just gonna use my little brush and get it as best we can, and then we're gonna hit it with some compressed air, call it good. So I went ahead, put these back on, click this over to the ice mode. This thing needs to make ice with the descaler for about 20 minutes or until the ice runs clear and not green. While I'm waiting on that, I'm gonna clean the storage bin, clean this, clean these pieces, put that all back together, and then disassemble the back of this so that I can clean out some of the drain lines and the water lines. There you can see this thing's making that green ice, the descaler ice. We don't really need it, so we're just gonna keep on melting it as it's made. I cleaned out the bottom of this, cleaned that. Still need to take off that back cover. So I'm satisfied that this thing has run long enough, melted out the remaining of the ice. This thing slides back up and out. I'm going to pour some more hot water down in here, let it drain, because then I have to disconnect this drain hose and get down there to this pump. So all these screws have been taken out, but you're still gonna need to disconnect your drain hose, and you're gonna need to disconnect this. But before you do that, you're gonna need to turn off your water over there underneath the sink. So I got my panels all removed. This is my water inlet valve. This is my actual water source connection, overflow hose, dump valve, drain pan, leak pan, drain pump. I've actually just made the decision, just based off how clean it is in here, that I'm not gonna go through the trouble of taking this all the way out, taking off the 1,700 screws around there, fighting with these hoses and all these wires. I am looking at this and I think it's pretty freaking clean. I don't even know how old this machine is, but I'm probably gonna take this water float out if I can do it right now. Let me show you. Just kind of, like I was saying, take this water float out. It's just a slight turn, sometimes it just gets stuck in there. You turn it, pull it out, wipe out this float. I'm gonna take the water tray out, clean out that nastiness in there in the water trough, and then I'm gonna take out this black hose back here, clean the water hose, check my dump valve, and then I'm gonna call it good. Took that one out, cleaned it, took that one out, cleaned it. Now I get to put it all back. This is relatively easy. It just kind of goes into place, and it has these zip ties on there that kind of help hold it in place. Once you get it over that initial lip, it's pretty easy to slide into place. All right, once that's in place, you take your water tray, I believe it goes like that, and it just kind of sits down in there. And there's two little plastic tabs that kind of lock it into place, and then you secure your water hose to the back one, just like that. And then this goes on top. Let's see, backwards. Like that. And then you're gonna untangle that, and then it goes down inside that hole. So that's all put back. Hoses are all put back, drain line. Don't forget to check your dump valve. That's clean. It goes right back in where it came out. Make sure it's seated down in its home. And then this one goes on top, quarter turn. And then I'm gonna put the rest of these panels back on. So I've got the important parts, the water valve, the water connection, all put together. The rest of these screws still need to get put back in, but I wanted to get this thing fired up, get it making ice so that I can save a little bit of time. I can secure all those screws later. I did put some of this, with this Taylor Lube, heavy duty sanitary lubricant around this edge, so this will slide up and down relatively easy. Let me turn this water on, turn stop. I go, water's on. Make sure that this isn't leaking. There is a white gasket in there. First time I ever worked on one of these, it fell, disappeared somewhere, and I beat my head against the wall. There's a white gasket, don't forget about that. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and click it on, make sure everything works, and then finish putting all these screws back together and leak check it, put it back into place. So everything's put back together. This thing is making ice. I still need to put the top cover back on. I put all my screws back in place. I leak checked. This isn't leaking. This was leaking down here. I tightened that up, made that stop. I might not have showed it, but this is full of ice machine sanitizer, food safe sanitizer. I did spray all my surfaces with it to keep anything from growing on the surfaces, plus to kill any bacteria that may be on it. And that's that. Let me finish putting this back together, slide it into place, see how that goes. So we got this one put back into place, wiped off all the panels, verified that my drain hose wasn't clogged by dumping some hot water down inside there, watched it spray into my drain underneath the sink. Need to put that back into place. That's basically it, how you complete a maintenance, a 6-month maintenance on a Hoshizaki under-counter ice machine. Hey, if you made it to the end of this video, I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.